Coming up on Let's Get to the Points.
Tonight, we thought it would be fun to talk about some of our plans that we're making already 12 to 18 months away.
So for 2026, on the top of my list is to visit the Philippines. Now, I know we have a lot of viewers. I met some of them at our meetup, and they were so excited that I wanted to visit the Philippines.
This would be a Caribbean cruise, and to be honest, I don't remember all the ports that it's stopping at, because for me, the destination is the cruise ship.
Redemptions, I'm looking forward to, because in our household, it's almost here the way that I book things and stress out because I don't get them booked.
This episode about 2026, I don't really have a role in this. I'm doing a cameo. I don't plan this far in advance.
No.
Now, let's get to the points. She loves elevating family travel into a luxurious, affordable, and unforgettable experience. It's Serena. When he's not on the road, he's finding the deals that'll get him there. It's Miguel. She has taken her family from Spirit to Etihad First Class, but she's only loyal to a great deal. It's Nicole, and his true love is traveling the world in first class, using his points and miles, that is. It's Mitch Shannon.
Hi there, and thank you for joining us on Let's Get to the Points audio video podcast, where we bring you the very best in tips and tricks in the world of miles, points, and travel. I'm Mitch Shannon, joined by my co-hosts, who are the very best experts you're going to find in everything points, miles, and travel. First up, she's known to always be working on a new card minimum spending requirement. It's Serena.
Hi, everyone.
He's our deal finder of great award flights and redemptions. It's Miguel.
Hey, what's up?
And her value is value among most things when it comes to her travel plans. It's Nicole.
Hi guys, how are you?
Please help us out. Click that subscribe button now below to our YouTube channel, Spotify, Apple Podcast, or wherever you watch or listen. Also, sign up for our weekly newsletter where we send you the latest news in points and miles every Friday. Now let's do it. Let's get to the points. All right, tonight we've got a little different type of show for you as we focus on sharing some of our redemptions we're planning to make for 2026. Yes, that's right. Not the 5, the 6. When people get into points and miles, sometimes it's hard for them to really understand that some of the best redemptions you can usually make are about a year out when the airline or hotel schedule opens up. And to get the best seats, the best room, and the best redemption, you got to be ready to go at least 1 year away. Now, it's not always the case, but we thought it would be fun to talk about some of our plans that we're making already 12 to 18 months away. And Nicole, you're going to start with your redemption plans that you're making.
So with a family of 4, you need to plan well in advance, especially if you want everyone to ride together, and definitely if you want to fly in one of the premium cabins. So for 2026, on the top of my list is to visit the Philippines. Now, I know we have a lot of viewers that are from the Philippines. I met some of them at our meetup, and they were so excited that I wanted to visit the Philippines. And just talking to them made me want to visit even more. Just the love that they had for their own country was like, I have to go to this place. It's almost the same way I feel when I tell people about going to Jamaica. And if you visit during spring break, Christmas, or Thanksgiving, the weather should be favorable. I know Serena hates to be hot. And even though we have more time in summer, I can imagine visiting in summer could be scorching, Serena.
Ugh, I could not handle it. But instead, you're dragging me to another scorching hot place over the summertime.
Thinking about visiting the Philippines, I'm focused on some of the smaller islands like Cebu, Boracay, and even El Nido. And I've seen the videos of some of these beaches and the limestone mountains that they have, and I'm already sold. So I'm going to reverse engineer this trip. I know where I want to go. Now I have to figure out how to get there and then work on the credit cards that will give me the points to book flights there. So in this trip breakdown, I'm going to mainly focus on the flight options to get me to the Philippines.
Is that because we all know you're going to stay at a Hyatt regardless of where you go?
Funny enough, for the Philippines, the Hyatts are only in Manila. None of the islands have a Hyatt on them.
You know, our YouTube commenters, a lot of them recommend the Grand Hyatt Manila for the club lounge.
Well, I'm sure you spend at least a couple days in Manila, like flying in or out for the main long haul flight. So I'm sure you'll hit up the Grand Hyatt.
Yeah, I looked up 2 of them. There's the Grand Hyatt and the Hyatt Regency. And I heard a lot of good reviews about the Grand Hyatt, but with my value-seeking mind, I was like, let me see if the Hyatt Regency is cheaper. And it wasn't. It's the same amount of points. So I guess the Grand Hyatt it is. You get better quality, much better lounge. So I think I'll stay at the Grand Hyatt. It is a Category 3 hotel. So the points price ranges from 12,000 points to 18,000 points. So before we get into the hotel, I want you to tell you about the flight options available to fly into Manila. While there are multiple options to get to Manila, I'm just going to be talking about a few that I would take. So one of the ways I would fly to Manila would be taking Japan Airlines from either Dallas-Fort Worth, New York City, or coming this summer from LAX so I could fly the A350 aircraft, and this is Japan Airlines' newest aircraft. If you use Alaska miles, it would be 85,000 points flying in business class, and you can opt for a stopover in Tokyo. There are options to fly from JFK directly to Manila on Philippine Airlines. You can also fly Cathay Pacific to Hong Kong, have a layover in Hong Kong, and then get a connection to Manila. Starlux also offers a flight, and you can stop over in Taipei. That would be 75,000 miles. You can also fly to Vietnam on Vietnam Airlines and then take a short cash flight from Vietnam to Manila. Fly on Vietnam Airlines would be 95,000 flying Blue miles, and you can also take advantage of transfer bonuses if they are available. Now, if you're like Mitch and you want to take the long way, you can fly on Qatar, go to Doha, and then fly to Manila. United also offers a flight from San Francisco to Manila. If I could do this in the summer and suffer through the heat, I have more time off from school, I could possibly book an around the world trip. I could take a couple of stops and fly to different countries, go to Manila, and head back home. An around the world trip, you need American Express points to transfer to ANA, and then you could book several business class or economy class tickets connecting you to different regions around the world.
Nicole, a round the world trip has been on my bucket list for a while, and even though that wasn't my plan today, maybe that should be that. Maybe that's what I should be shooting for 2026. Is finally do this round the world trip booking through ANA, because it is a great deal. I don't think there's anything that can pretty much beat this redemption.
And I think when people think of around the world, when I heard of it, I'm hearing people doing 5, 6, 7 stops. You could do as little as 3. And even with 3 stops, you'll probably use less points than if you were to book a one-way going and a one-way coming back. So it's a great way to maximize the use of your points.
For those of you who haven't heard about ANA's Round the World ticket, it's a ticket that allows you to add multiple segments and an award ticket when you book with ANA. And the price that you're going to pay, the rate, is based off of the distance that you fly. So for example, ANA has 3 different rates depending on the class of service. So if you're flying economy, business, or first, if you're flying anywhere from 20,000 to 22,000 miles, that's going to cost you 125,000 points in business class for as many trips as you can fit in those 20,000 miles. So if you fly more, it's going to cost you more. And these flights need to be operated on Star Alliance partners. The main reason why I haven't booked it yet is because one of the requirements that is hard for me to meet is that the trip must be at least 10 days. And that's a long time for me to be away from home if I go solo. So the only way I could probably do this if I do a family trip, but then finding 4 business class seats, it's probably going to be really hard. So you can also do it in economy. That'd be much cheaper, but I do want to do this one day in business class, doing around the world ticket.
When I first started with points and miles, I remember 2 main goals that I had. One was flying in Q suites.
Check.
And the second one was booking an around the world trip. So this one is still out there. I'm hoping to book it soon. Now, if you guys out there want to learn more about the around the world ticket, please let us know in the comments. We're thinking about doing an episode for you, but we want to know, is this something you want to learn about? We will be happy to put an episode like this together if there is enough demand for it. And this is what you guys want to see. Please let us know in the comments if you'd like to learn about the around the world ticket. My second destination would be to Vietnam. Now, I know we're going to Vietnam, but we're not staying there for a long time. But and this is not like me, I actually want to slow travel through Vietnam. I want to go to the north, see the rice paddies, all of that, come back down to the south, get in the hustle and bustle of like Ho Chi Minh City. And I also want to take a river cruise in Ha Long Bay. I feel like Vietnam would be the place I could spend 3 weeks with, and it would go by quickly. Going to Vietnam, you can take similar routings as if you were going to Manila. I feel like once you get into the region of either Japan or Seoul or even Taipei, it's easy to find find cash flights to these different locations. As long as you get the long haul flight situated, then it would be easy for me to get to Vietnam. There is also a direct flight from San Francisco to Vietnam. So that would be a great option.
Looks like a great flight too.
And hey, I think we'll fly that later this year, right?
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to it because Vietnam Airlines is not something we hear about often. What is it, like a 14-hour flight? It's not quite Q Suites, but I think it'll do.
So back in episode 76, which is our Capital One episode, I had a tutorial that showed you exactly how I booked this flight on Vietnam Airlines. So you can check that out if you'd like to see how we booked it. So Nicole, my destination is not as exciting as yours, but my kids are going to love it. Next summer, I am planning on going on a cruise, and I booked Royal Caribbean's Star of the Seas. And if you remember, last summer, I went on Icon of the Seas, and we had such a blast that I couldn't resist. There's going to be a sister ship coming out, and I have it booked. This will be a Caribbean cruise, and to be honest, I don't remember all the ports that it's stopping at, because for me, the destination is the cruise ship. Star of the Seas will be very similar to Icon of the Seas, and we loved everything about that ship, especially the water park. So I know our family's going to have a blast. So it doesn't make sense for me to use points and miles for the cruise itself, but I am going to use points and miles for booking the flights and the hotel that we'll be staying at for a few days before we get on our ship. I have set a calendar reminder for myself for June of this year to start looking at the flights that I might want to take. So the flight award calendar might not be open yet, but I'm getting ready for when the calendar is open, and I will practice doing award searches to see what might be available and what I might want to book. The options for me nonstop from San Francisco to Orlando, where we will embark on our ship, are United and Alaska Airlines. And I am for sure going to put some Seats.aero alerts on for these flights. And remember, we have a promo code in the show notes for Seats.aero if you are also looking for award availability. Whenever I go on a cruise, I always want to be near the embarkation port 2 to 3 days in advance of boarding our ship. And that's because things can happen. And if you remember, we had some trouble getting to Florida last summer when we wanted to go on our Icon cruise. I'm always wanting to build in these extra days. It allows for a buffer in case there are any flight disruptions.
Or hurricanes.
Or hurricanes. Because the last thing you want to do is miss your ship, because the ship will not wait for you. So I'm going to be using points for my hotel stay, and it'll probably be a Hyatt. It might be the Hyatt and the Orlando airport. My parents stayed there before, and they actually really enjoyed their stay there. I'm also going to book that hotel as soon as award availability opens up. With the Hyatt calendar, you will typically see rooms available about 13 months in advance. And there are going to be a lot of people getting on this cruise ship. So I'm going to make sure that I have that booking in place. So now I'm going to talk about some ways to save on a cruise. For most cruises, booking far in advance or catching last minute deals is the best way to snag a deal. I think Star of the Seas will be a highly anticipated ship, just like Icon was. So for me, in order to get the cabin I want at the best pricing, that meant booking way in advance. And my go-to for cruise pricing is cruisecompete.com. This is a cruise travel agent aggregator. You would enter your cruise details and multiple travel agents will get back to you with different quotes. And many of them can offer you very generous onboard credits to be used toward excursions and other upcharges that are offered on board. I've developed a relationship with a cruise consultant that I met with, and he has always been able to beat all the other travel agents' pricing. If you love cruises, I recommend you do the same. There is also status matching. Status matching with casinos is a very popular method to get almost free cruises, but you still have to pay the taxes and fees. I don't think this is worth my time because my family has very limited time off and I'm very picky about my ships. So this is not something I dabble in.
Serena, it's funny that you bring up the status match. I did one and we have a cruise coming up in a few weeks. And you said you're particular about the cabin and the ship. Well, I got to choose neither. Meaning, the only option I have was the date. Now, I would rather travel and visit multiple countries in this time, but my kids were like, we want to go on a cruise.
Oh, yeah. The kids love cruises.
So since this was our final opportunity to travel together, I was like, sure, let's do it. So we had two choices for cruises. We could go on a newer ship, but it would have a more mature crowd. Or we could take the fun ship, but it would be an older ship. So they opted for Carnival. So we have 8 days together. And you remember our Japan trip, right? In an interior room. I'm so excited.
Oh, dear.
And by no means was it free. I have to check out what the regular price was, but total with the taxes and fees, the prepaid gratuities, and even paying that little insurance in case something happens and we needed to cancel, my total all in was a little over $2,000. Now, relatively speaking, on an 8-day cruise, it's not so bad. So it wasn't free. It was a deep discount, but I just need people to know it's definitely not free.
Oh, that's for 4 people, right?
That's for 4 people. Yes.
Across 8 nights?
Across 8 nights, we have a $200 onboard credit. And if I choose to drink in the casino, I get free drinks for me and my husband.
Hey.
Sounds like a great deal.
So also beforehand, the status match required me visiting Atlantic City and going to multiple casinos. I had MGM Gold initially, right? And then I matched with Ocean Prime. That gave me an MSC cruise that we didn't take advantage of. You also had an option to stay 2 days at Atlantis. There are a lot of benefits for status matching with casinos. Just know that it's going to take a little bit of work, but it could definitely be worth your time. So you have to decide if, how do you say, the juice is worth the squeeze?
So when you went for this casino status match, were you doing it with the intention of getting a cruise out of it?
I was trying to get everything out of it, right? I really wanted to do the MSC cruise. I really wanted to go to Atlantis in the Bahamas. I wanted to do the Las Vegas 2 nights. And of those 4 things, the only thing we ended up doing was this cruise, because you have to realize it does take time to do all of this, right? Like they do give you a free hotel, but you have to buy food and you have to find your flight. It's great, but know that there are other costs involved in it.
Nicole, you touched on a couple subjects that we don't have a lot of content on. So one of them is casino status. There's a whole nother world with casino status and perks and all that with comp stays. And the other one is cruising. Now, we've mentioned briefly because Serena has done cruises and Mitch did that cruise on, what is it, the Explorer, which, by the way, that video is doing great. If you haven't watched it, go check that out.
Absolutely. It's right now our second best performing YouTube video. But by the time this comes out, it'll probably be our best performing video. Great job, Mitch.
It was a good cruise. That's all I'm going to say.
I think you were living very high on the hog on that cruise ship.
Very, very high on the hog because I paid cash for it. I didn't use points.
So please let us know if you want us to make more videos on cruising and on casino statuses.
Serena also went on a cruise and is going on her second cruise. She should produce a special edition for us, shouldn't she?
Oh, dear. Well, this is actually like my 10th cruise.
Wow.
Since you've been with us?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Lifetime. One way to redeem points and miles for a cruise is by using the Capital One Purchase Eraser. But I don't have any more Capital One miles because I used it all for my Hello Kitty flight.
Ooh.
Remember?
Oh, yes.
So instead, I'm using this cruise as a points earning opportunity. And I'm going to go over how I'm going to earn more points by paying for this cruise. Sometimes office supply stores like Staples has promotions where they sell fee-free Visa and MasterCard gift cards. You can use a Chase Ink Business Cash credit card to earn 5x on those purchases. And my cruise consultant is very used to me giving him multiple $200 Visa and MasterCard gift cards to pay down my cruise balance. Another way to earn points is to look at special offers, especially with American Express. At one point, Amex was offering 25,000 membership reward points when you spend $1,500 at Royal Caribbean. And if you have CardPointers Plus, you might be able to add this offer to multiple cards and earn a lot of Amex points. I've also seen Amex offers like this for many different cruise lines. We also have a discount link for CardPointers Plus in our show notes. You can also earn more points by getting a new credit card. You can meet a minimum spend requirement on a new card with a great welcome offer and get bonus points by paying down your cruise balance.
Serena, I'm glad you mentioned those offers by Amex. While using CardPointers Plus, I had to pay down the balance on our cruise, and it did have an offer for an additional $150 off the cruise. And since I use CardPointers, I was able to get it on 2 of my Amex cards. Carnival was very gracious. What's funny is I paid it 2 days before, and I called them and asked them if they could reverse the payment and put it on a different card and split the payments on 2 cards. And the lady was happy to oblige, and I saved $300 on the cruise.
Very nice. See, that goes to show it never hurts to ask. And what is also great about that story, Nicole, is the cost of CardPointers Plus more than covered by the savings that you got from that Amex offer. So I highly recommend you look at CardPointers Plus if you haven't yet.
Redemptions I'm looking forward to in 2026, because in our household, it's almost here the way that I book things and stress out because I don't get them booked. You know how that goes.
Yes.
All right. So I've already made half my first redemption, and it's while we were recording our show last week. I just booked our outbound trip to Melbourne for the Australian Open 2026.
Wow, it's here already.
You are committed.
Ready. I am.
The tennis.
I'm not going to miss it. I booked this on Qatar again. I loved it so much. We're going back. It's $120,000 per person each way. We're going to do the Q Suites, LA, Doha, Melbourne. The taxes and fees on that, though, for 2 of us, it was about $460. Yeah, they've raised those.
It did go up.
It did. I thought they were a little high, but for Qatar, the distance.
But it's worth it.
Yeah, can't complain too much at all. All right. Right now, we are arriving there on opening day of 2026, and I'm trying to figure out what we're going to do with the rest of our time there because, you know, some of us like tennis all 10 days, some of us don't. So try to work through that.
Let me guess
right?
who's who.
Yeah, we can figure that out, right? It's a big mega trip for us when we travel. Of course it is. So the one idea I've got on the top of my mind is a spot that we had actually booked right before COVID, and I had to cancel it, and I was really sad because it's the Great Barrier Island. It's off Auckland, New Zealand. Found a great little cottage there. There's no hotel. This is an Airbnb. The sky is so dark. You can see all the stars in the sky at night. And it's actually the 3rd International Dark Sky Sanctuary to be designated and the first island sanctuary as well. Now, there's a couple of ways to get there. You can do a local flight with Barrier Air, or you can do a passenger ferry. And that's what I'm going to do because I don't like little small planes. It's about a 4.5-hour ferry there, which I'm going to have to find out a way to live with that. The flight's only 30 minutes. We're going to fly from Melbourne to Auckland, and then we're going to take a ferry over. And I'm probably going to book Air New Zealand in business class because I will never fly Qantas Airlines again.
What?
Ever. They're a horrible airline.
Ooh, you need
the
to
naughty list.
share.
Oh,
Share what happened.
well, I'm not ready to share yet because I submitted my complaint, and 5 days later, they just actually acknowledged that they even got the email. I'm going to wait till I get the whole thing figured out and closed before I will share the dramatic story of me flying Qantas Airlines. And it's not at all feel sorry bad for Mitch. It's a this could happen to you type of story, or it possibly could. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
More on that. And then if we wanted to, what I'm thinking about doing is booking via Aeroplan the way back home, go from Auckland to Singapore, do that free stopover, get a Miguel free for 5,000 points.
Well, then it's not free. 5,000 points.
What did you call it last time? Welcome offer dust.
That's right. Welcome offer dust. Yeah, we could stop there in Singapore for free for our stopover. Now, I could also do this with the Amex business card. And if I did purchase business class, it's going to be about $500 per person to go from Melbourne to Auckland, get the 35% back. I don't know what's the better deal, but I got that status on Alaska Airlines with One World Emerald, which didn't help me out with Qantas, by the way.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Gonna try to figure something out. So I'm gonna get back to you on that, but that's my first plan. What do you all think about that?
Surprise, surprise. The tennis.
The tennis.
Right.
And this trip to Great Barrier Island is after the tennis, something for you to look forward to. That's very nice.
Absolutely. This is something that we wanted to do, and it's such a remote location. It's kind of out of everything that we do. There's no Park Hyatts there. There's no high-end hotels. It's just Airbnbs. It's a little island, and it's just night sky and beautiful stars. And that's all I really want.
I hope it's not like a Riyadh in Morocco.
Another vacation I'm planning for us is our family trip in 2026, and it's going to be all four of us. Might be five. I got to see how many points Aunt Peggy has. We're going to be heading back to Thailand, the motherland that we love to go to. We are planning to spend 5 to 7 days there in Bangkok. Going to see some family. Going to stay at our favorite hotel, the Park Hyatt Bangkok. Then we're going to go up to Chiang Mai since I've never been there. Now, my family thinks I'm nuts for not wanting to fly there because there's a train that goes from Bangkok to Chiang Mai overnight. You can buy a first class sleeper car for only $50 per person, and it's really nice. But the thing is, it's a 14-hour train ride, and they think I'm absolutely insane because it's a 30-minute flight. I thought it would be fun. They think it's going to be a nightmare, so I don't know. We got to hash all that out.
I vote for the train.
Yeah.
What?
For the train.
No. Remember, your time is worth more. And this is from the Value Girl.
I think Mitch has a lot of time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it.
It's overnight, so most of that time you'd be sleeping anyway. I mean, Nicole, if you're talking about
Listen,
value, no, that's one less hotel night for you. But you're going to spend an extra night at a hotel, more points. Just sleep on the train on the way there.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah.
We're talking about hotels in Thailand. It's welcome offer dust to stay at a hotel over there.
I'm with you on that, Miguel. I mean, you're right. You're going to be sleeping halfway through this train ride. So, you know, I sleep 10 hours on a plane. I'm going to sleep 10 hours on a train. So what? That's 4 hours I'm going to be awake for the train ride?
I vote for the train.
I am so happy you get 10 hours of sleep on the plane. So happy.
I just did Doha, LA, and that was 15 hours and 24 minutes. And I slept 10 of the 15 hours on that flight.
Wow. Good job, Mitch.
Oh, it felt so good.
Serena, do you sleep that long on a plane?
No. Maximum maybe 6 straight if I'm lucky.
I'm very excited that you're going back to Bangkok, Mitch. You know, that's one of my favorite places ever. Don't forget to check out our Bangkok episode. It's episode 86. We'll put a link in the show notes. It's absolutely an amazing place to visit.
All right. So you did mention flight, Nicole. So I did look. There's another way that we can book to get there by flying Thai Airways. Now, they recently merged. Maybe I should say reabsorbed, however you want to look at it. Thai Smile. It used to be a part of Thai Airways. Now, Thai Smile was like, I don't know. Do you remember Ted Song from United and Delta? Do you guys remember those?
No.
United, Ted?
The United, the low-cost
Is it
carriers?
like Lucille?
No, the low-cost carriers for United. They had Ted. Delta had Song.
Oh.
You don't remember those?
Slight bell. Slight ringing.
It was an experiment. That's kind of what this was with Thai Smile. Well, same situation, but here's the thing. Anyway, regardless of all of that, United now has these flights, which you couldn't get them before when they were Thai Smile, but now that they're Thai, you can get award space tickets for 12,500 miles per person in the main cabin. That's a little high because the cash rates go around $100, $150, and their business class is usually like $50 to $100 more. It's like European business class. It's nothing special. We've flown it before, but I absolutely refuse to fly any of those Southeast Asia budget airlines. Not because I'm too good to fly them, but years ago we had a little incident. Maybe someday I'll talk about my PTSD from that.
So issues with those airlines, issues with Qantas. Maybe you're the problem, Mitch.
Those are fighting words.
Probably right, Miguel. That's what I'm coming to the conclusion of. It's, my fault. I did all this. All right. How we're going to get to Bangkok and back. The goal for us is to see if I can find us 4 seats on the quad on Qatar. I know that's very iffy and it's going to be hard to find 4 together. Very rare. So maybe I'm going to try to book us again on Singapore Airlines. I can usually find those 4 award seats together if I plan a year out. And if I book us a round trip saver award, I can get us that free stopover. So maybe we could stop over in Japan or something again. Not quite sure, but that's my plan moving forward for 2026. Those 2 trips, and then I'm going to wait to see what Miguel finds mistake fare wise, and then I'll just book the rest of those.
That's how it usually works.
Right? So those mistake fares, Miguel, I'm hoping you find us a bunch in 2026. Maybe you'll put them in our new group Elevate as well.
Well, that's where there'll be if we find any, but that's usually how I kind of plan my trips. So this episode about 2026, this is not really, I don't really have a role in this. I'm doing a cameo. I don't plan this far in advance. I mean,
We know.
This trip I took to Tokyo a couple weeks ago, I planned it, or I booked it 8 days prior. 2026 is so far. This is just not for me. But for all intents and purposes, let me tell you where I would like to travel in 2026, even if I book it in 2026. Number 1, Japan. I think I'm going to go to Japan every year for the rest of my life. Japan is great because my whole family loved Japan. I don't have the problem selling that trip to my family. If I just tell them, hey, I booked a trip to Japan, they're going to be happy. If I tell them I booked a trip to Mongolia, they're going to be like,
Tell them about the yurts.
But Japan, I would have no problem selling. So I think I can confidently say if I book a trip to Japan, they're all on board. For a trip to Japan, there are so many options for you to get there. You know, you can use some of our favorite American Airline miles, Alaska Airline miles. You can use Air Canada to fly Star Alliance. I mean, there's just so many options to get to Japan, which is great. But besides Japan, I have a couple other destinations that I would like to travel to in 2026. The main thing I'd like to do in 2026 is take my family on a safari. So I would like to go to Serengeti National Park. I want to go see the Great Migration, and the airport that you would fly in that is closest to, because you still have to drive a few hours once you get there, is Kilimanjaro. Now, the options that you have to fly into Kilimanjaro is Qatar Airways via Doha. You have Turkish via Istanbul. You have KLM and Air France flying from Amsterdam and from Paris. You also have Edelweiss Air, which is a subsidiary of Swiss Airlines. And then last but not least, you have Ethiopian, which probably has more availability than the other ones. Now, some of those routes are seasonal, so they're not all going to work depending on when we end up going. We might try to go for spring break or maybe in the summer. I got to look at that Great Migration calendar.
Miguel, I have my eye on a safari as well. And there's a new JW Marriott property that's going to be opening in the Serengeti. And I actually looked at the Great Migration map, and I have an idea of when we want to go. For us, it's probably going to be a 2027 trip, but I definitely have my eye on that.
Yeah, there is another JW that's open, right? The Masai Mara, but I think they don't allow more than one kid. I think so. I'll probably end up doing something else instead. My ideal scenario, of course, would be to fly Qatar Airways, get the quad, the Q suites, right, for 4 of us. But that's not realistic. It might happen, but there's a very slim chance. More realistically, I would probably fly Ethiopian and probably trying to book through ANA. I could book round trip in business class for 130,000 points per person. Now, the other realistic booking that I could make for the 4 of us would be to fly on Air France or on KLM. The taxes on them are a little bit higher, but I think it's more reasonable for me to find 4 business class seats to get all the way to Kilimanjaro. Now, the second place would be New Zealand, and maybe I was sold on it by James, but I do want to go to either Australia or New Zealand because it's a continent I haven't gone to yet. So either one would work. New Zealand would be ideal if I could find business class using Virgin Atlantic points because, Nicole, just like you, I still have some points tucked away in Virgin Atlantic that I need to burn. So you can actually fly from the West Coast over to New Zealand on Air New Zealand business class for 62,500 points. But that's only into their next evaluation.
Please don't say it.
I got to add that little caveat because, you know, this video come out and then a week later they'll be like, oh, it's not this rate anymore. It's gone up since.
Yeah, Miguel, that's a good point. So we record these videos in advance of when you actually view them. And that's to give us enough time to produce a high quality show that you're watching right now. And this is why we are creating our Elevate community so we can share more up-to-date data points and information with you. So we have the link in our show notes to our Elevate waitlist. If you're interested in getting more time-sensitive credit card deals, flight deals, take a look at the link for our Elevate community in our show notes. You'll have access to the 4 of us. We can give you that kind of information in a more timely manner than what YouTube can provide.
All right, Miguel, did you notice Serena's already planning 2027? What do you think about that?
Don't put me on the spot, bitch.
I think that's perfect for the show.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's not what I meant, but I guess it could work.
Well, Miguel, while you figure out what you're going to do in 2027, right now, we're moving on to Ask Us.
Hi, everyone. My name is Richie. I live in upstate New York. First, I want to say I just absolutely love your show. The tips and tricks and the stories and the camaraderie with all that information is just absolutely addictive. I love it so much. My question is, what would your credit card strategy be if you have a low monthly spend? For example, my P2 and I, outside of our mortgage, our monthly spend is probably under $1,000, give or take. And that only increases when we have to pay our annual insurance bundle or maybe a vacation. So I look forward to your response and thank you again so much.
Thank you for your question, Richie. We really appreciate you watching our show. Great question you have for us tonight. I think a lot of people, including some of us, fall into this category every now and then of low monthly spend. So what advice do we have for you? Here's what I would say. I really like Serena's everyday strategy. She's always working on a minimum spend. I think this path works really well for people with low monthly spending because it's kind of easy to do. Sign up for a new credit card. Oftentimes, they got that minimum spending requirement. It's $3,000 to $4,000 in the first 3 months. Pretty attainable. And it almost seems like the banks, they already know this is how much you're going to spend anyway. So that's a great option. My only caution would be you need to work even harder making your plans on your redemptions in advance before you get a new card. Like we've talked about tonight, you'll want to plan ahead, get those cards ready. That's going to help you with those travel redemptions. Serena, I love your strategy.
Hi, Richie. Yeah, Mitch, you're right. I love always working on a minimum spend. And Richie, in your case, I think you'll want to be strategic with the particular credit cards that you are opening. You want to go for the welcome offers that have a minimum spend requirement that you can handle. And I have a list here of some cards that you might want to think about because they don't require a whole lot of spend. For example, the Citi Business American Airlines card has a 65,000-mile welcome offer and no annual fee in the first year. And the minimum spend is $4,000 in 4 months. That only amounts to about $1,000 spend every month. Other options are the Barclays American Airlines Aviator Red card and the Barclays Hawaiian card. Both offer a $70K welcome offer after just one purchase. And that purchase can be something very small, like a few bananas or a pack of gum. You'll get the miles after your first purchase and paying the $99 annual fee. The Chase Inc. Business Cash Card offers a tiered bonus structure that is essentially spending $6,000 in 6 months with no annual fee. You can find this card on our credit card page and filtering by business and Chase. And then there's the Capital One Venture One card, where you'll earn 20,000 bonus miles once you spend $500 on purchases within the first 3 months with no annual fee. There's also the Chase Freedom Flex card, where you will earn 20,000 points after spending $500 in the first 3 months, again with no annual fee. And then there's also the Citi Double Cash and the Rewards Plus card. With each of these, you'll earn either $200 cash back or 20,000 points after spending $1,500 on purchases within the first few months. Those Citi cards also have no annual fee.
So I agree with Serena. You want to find the credit cards with the lower minimum spend requirement that are tailored or geared towards your travel goals. So here are a few other cards that I would recommend. Take a look at the American Express Gold Card. This does have a high annual fee of $325, but the multipliers are great for daily spending. Things like 4 points at a restaurant or 4 points at supermarket. Now, the minimum spend required for this card is $6,000 in 6 months. So that gives you a longer time to achieve the minimum spend in order to earn the bonus. If you're planning to travel outside of the US, Serena always talks about using Hilton points at international Hilton locations. 2 cards you may consider is the Hilton Honors American Express card. The current offer right now is 80 to 95,000 points, and the requirement is 2,000 spend in 6 months. The other card I would consider is the Hilton Honors American Express Surpass card. This does have an annual fee of $150, and the current offer is about 130,000 points. The minimum spend on this is $3,000 in 6 months. Now, the key with these 2 cards is to wait to see if there is a promotional offer where you can get a free night certificate when signing up. These Hilton free night certificates can be used at almost any Hilton property, and you can really get a big bang for your buck if you use them internationally. One other suggestion I would make to you is to consider using your points on alternating annual vacations. Maybe use your credit cards to earn the points for the vacation this year, and then next year, after accumulating all the points, you can pool them together to use them for a redemption. Richie, I hope this helps, and I can't wait to hear what vacations that you take in the future.
Hi, Richie. Something I want to add and something that I do is refer my player to, and my player to refers me to some of these cards. If I'm signing up for a credit card, I'll work on the minimum spend. And then eventually when we're ready for another card, I might refer my player to from my account. And that way I earn points. American Express sometimes gives you 30 to 35,000 points per referral. So this is a good way to rack up a lot of points. Another way to earn points without spending a lot on credit cards is using shopping portals. If you do online shopping, I would go through some of these shopping portals like Rakuten, the American Airlines portal, or others, because doing so allows you to earn additional points aside from the ones you're earning from the credit card spend. I would also look into airline dining programs because that's where you can link any credit card or even debit cards to the dining program of your choice. For example, let's say American Airlines, and anytime you dine at their participating restaurants, you're going to earn additional miles for that spend. If you don't like to shop online and prefer to shop in person, look into the United Mileage Plus X app, because through this app, you're able to earn United miles for in-store shopping. How this app works is, let's say you're going shopping at PetSmart. Once you're ready to pay, you go on this app and you purchase a digital gift card through the app to pay with that gift card. And then you'll earn United miles. The miles that you earn vary anywhere from half a mile up to 5 or even more miles per dollar that you spend. So this is another great way to earn a lot of points.
That's good advice, Miguel. So thank you, everyone. And thank you, Richie, for your question. Watch your mailbox. We're going to be sending you a Let's Get to the Points prize pack with some of our favorite goodies inside. And we want you on our show as well. Just visit our website, letsgettothepoints.com, and click on subscribe. And there you can send us your video question. That's it for now. I want to thank all of our hosts. It's Serena.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Miguel.
Later.
And we're going to see you next week, Nicole.
See you guys next week.
Adam and Shannon, make sure you sign up for our email newsletter. Just snap the QR code on your screen right now for the latest and everything going on in the Points and Miles world. And we're going to see you here next Friday as we talk about some of our top destinations for travel and how to do it with Points and Miles. Thank you for watching and listening.
Let's get to the points.com.